Update. My girlfriend 30 female overheard my 35 male family talking badly about her. Original story. My girlfriend Sammy and I have been together a bit over a year. She's absolutely wonderful. Smart, attractive, driven, educated, kind, and goofy. She's everything I've ever wanted. And up until last week, I thought my family felt the same way. Last week, I went to my parents' house for dinner. We get together as a family a few times a month, as it's been a tradition with us for years now. Sammy usually joins us for these dinners, but I had work obligations, so I told my family she wouldn't be joining us that night. Halfway through dinner, I got up to go to the bathroom, and Sammy texted me that she was outside. She got off work early and came over to hang out. She would have normally walked in, which is normal, but she needed help bringing in some gifts. Sammy's leaving tomorrow for a work trip and a personal vacation to see some friends, so she won't be back until Thanksgiving. My brother and sister twins have their birthday next week, and my girlfriend had gifts for them. At this point, my family had no idea Sammy was there. We walked inside and headed to the kitchen, and we overheard my family talking. My sister was saying that she was glad my girlfriend was gone, because she couldn't stand a family night being ruined by my girlfriend being annoying. My brother and other sister agreed about how annoying and awful my girlfriend is. My dad made a comment about how they should be nice to Sammy. Then my mom chimed in with, "Sammy's nice and all, but I can't believe Opie likes how fat she is. He can do so much better." My family, even my dad, agreed. And my sister piped up that I was dating down because I'm still rebounding from my last girlfriend, which was 5 years ago. I was floored. My family has always been so nice to Sammy, and I've never heard them talk badly about her. I've never heard my family say mean things about anyone, to be honest. Sammy walked into the kitchen and dumped the presents on the counter. She was crying and mumbled something about happy birthday, and then took off out the door. My family looked shocked and a bit embarrassed. I asked my family what the hell was wrong with them. I didn't stick around for an answer. I went after Sammy. She was in her car, crying. Now, Sammy's usually tough, but family's super important to her. She has no family aside from an alcoholic dad that she doesn't have any contact with. My family was like surrogate family and something she always wanted. She was overjoyed when my family welcomed her and invited her to family events. The presents she brought my sister and brother were paintings she had spent many hours working on. And yes, she is fat. But I prefer thick girls, always have. To me, she's gorgeous and exactly what I like. But even then, she's lost about 40 pounds since we started dating. I would love her at any weight, and I'm proud of the work she's done. I have no idea what they mean about her being annoying. She comes when she's invited, usually brings baked goods or beer. She's taken my family out to dinner multiple times and is extremely generous with them. She's even become the go-to babysitter for my sister and her 2 kids, and she helped my brother get a job in her company. She pushed really hard to get him hired, and put her professional reputation on the line. She's never asked for a payment or holds it over anyone. She even does the dishes when we come over for dinner. The thing that makes this even worse is I was planning on proposing to her in the next few months, but I had planned on asking my sisters to come with me to pick out her ring. Now, Sammy hasn't said much about it and hasn't talked to me much about this incident. She has always wanted a family and she doesn't understand why my family doesn't like her or what she's done wrong. She said she'd talk to me more when she gets back from her trip. I don't want to lose her over this, and I would take her over my family. Sammy hasn't been in her usual cheerful self this week, and I've got her crying more than once since this incident. I try to comfort her, but she tries to play it like she's fine. At this point, I have no idea if I even want them in my life. All of them have reached out to me with weak apologies full of justifications. I asked my mom if she had apologized to Sammy, and my mom said I could pass on the apology. To be fair to them, all of them do feel bad about what happened and seemed extra embarrassed about this. But no one can give me exact reasons why she's annoying or how she's ruined family nights. My dad is the only reasonable one that has offered to apologize to Sammy directly. What do? I don't want to get rid of my family, but Sammy matters more to me at this point. I want Sammy to know I'm fully in her corner and I don't want her to feel guilty if I have to cut out my family. Now for the top advice before reading the update. To be fair to them, all of them do feel bad about what happened and seemed extra embarrassed about this. My mom said I could pass on the apology. What? Yeah, no. These are adults. They can apologize or not, but no one should be passing along apologies. Your girlfriend sounds like an awesome girl. If I were her, I wouldn't feel comfortable being around those people. If I were you and that was my family trashing my husband, I'd tell them to buzz right off. I had a conversation with my sister that ended in buzz off. They need to apologize directly. I would drop them until they do that. passing on an apology from your family is adding insult to injury for your girlfriend. They don't feel bad about what they said. They feel bad because they were caught saying it. They are not in a hurry to make amends by the sounds of it. Remember, you pick your friends and girlfriends, but you can't pick your family. For that reason, families sometimes think they can get a free pass to treat you and your friends badly because they're family. BS. Families have to earn and hold your respect the same way anyone else does. And if they fail, feel no guilt in stopping having anything to do with them. Your girlfriend sounds like a keeper, your family doesn't. I think you've nailed what I'm really upset about. They don't respect me, my relationship, or Sammy. And I've lost that respect I've had for them. An apology isn't going to rebuild that respect, but it would be a start. It sounded like your dad didn't 100% agree with the conversation. He defended her before you walked in, and that's why he will genuinely apologize. The rest of your family's only embarrassed. They hadn't planned on saying those things to your face. If you tell them you plan on proposing and aren't sure if they'll stay in your lives, you'll likely hear more convincing apologies. But from what you've shared, I doubt they'll actually be sincere. You're right about my dad. He seems pretty upset about everything and offered up a genuine apology. I think I'll get him and Sammy together for an apology, and he might be the only one that I interact with in the future. I haven't told them about the proposal yet. They won't be hearing about it anytime soon. Edit. I went to bed and woke up to tons of replies. Thanks for all the advice and support, everyone. I have decided to take Sammy on a vacation for Thanksgiving. I'm on the phone with a very helpful guy that's trying to find me a hotel room that isn't booked for that weekend. No matter what happens, I think this is going to be a tradition I build with her for the future. A relaxing weekend to ourselves, while everyone else is running around buying knockoff iPads. Also, I talked to my dad briefly last night. He's pretty horrified by everything and has agreed to come over and apologize to Sammy, and do it when Sammy feels up to hearing it. I've told Sammy all of this since it happened. She knows I'm choosing her over my family and that I would choose her over anyone. And now for the update. A few people have messaged me for an update, so I thought I would post. First, thank you for all the kind words and great ideas. It really helped me get some perspective on the situation. First off, Sammy and I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We spent it out of town in a small skiing town. It was a great weekend, and we spent a lot of time talking and discussing what to do about my family. Sammy was still pretty hurt over the matter, but was adamant that I shouldn't cut all ties with my family, so I told her that all depended on my family. My mom was in denial that I wouldn't be coming to Thanksgiving. After my last post, I let her know Sammy and I wouldn't be attending. She brushed it off until the day before Thanksgiving when she called to make sure I was bringing pie. I reminded her that I wouldn't be at dinner, and she broke down crying. She told me she was sorry for hurting Sammy and would like the chance to apologize. I let her know she'd have a chance after Thanksgiving. After we got back from our Thanksgiving trip, my parents came over for dinner. I had okayed this with Sammy, and she thought my parents deserved a chance to make this right. And frankly, I think she really wanted to mend things with my family. Dinner was awkward, to say the least. My dad started out by offering Sammy a genuine apology. He told her he was extremely embarrassed and genuinely wanted to make things up to her. They had a nice chat. The talk with my mom, well, that went okay. My mom cried through most of it and tried to reinforce that she was very sorry. I couldn't tell if she was sorry or just upset that I was taking Sammy's side. I don't think Sammy was convinced either. Then a few days after dinner, my mom called Sammy and asked her to lunch to talk by themselves. Several comments in my last post mentioned that my family probably felt Sammy was annoying, simply because they felt intimidated or projecting their own issues on her. I think that was spot on. Sammy went to lunch with my mom. They had a very long, good talk about everything. She said my mom felt jealous that Sammy was so educated and had a chance to get an education. And Sammy admitted to being jealous that my mom has a big family. Sammy opened up to my mom about the situation with her own family and living on her own since she was a teenager. I think that hit my mom very hard because she's always been surrounded by a big, loving family. And I think she was horrified by her own behavior towards Sammy, who wanted to be a part of the family. Overall, I think things are better between my parents and Sammy. My younger sister reached out to Sammy after Thanksgiving. I don't think any of my siblings expected me to ditch family dinner, and I heard they were pretty upset I went on vacation instead. My sister apologized over the phone. I don't know if it was enough, but it was a good step. Sammy says she's feeling pretty neutral about my youngest sister. She said she feels like my sister is more sorry she was caught, but Sammy appreciated apology. My brother had to endure a very uncomfortable few weeks at work while Sammy was traveling. I think by Thanksgiving, he was confident that Sammy wasn't going to screw with his job. When Sammy got back to work after our vacation, he went to her office to apologize. Again, I think he apologized just to appease us. But he did it in person and didn't try to cop out. Like my sister, Sammy feels neutral about him. My other sister, my brother's twin, is the only holdout. She hasn't given Sammy an apology and seems pissed that she no longer has a built-in free babysitter. She's doubled down and said she has nothing to apologize for, and Sammy's the one causing troubles. This has caused a bit of a rift in my family. My parents would like Sammy and I to come to Christmas dinner, but I'm not interested in being around my sister right now, and I'm not going to subject Sammy to that. My parents have even suggested that my sister should stay home to make us more comfortable in coming. While I appreciate the sentiment, I would feel guilty about my sister being alone on Christmas. Her kids will be with her dad. Sammy and I have plenty of offers from friends, while my sister would probably not be able to find a place to go on short notice. Sammy's told my parents she would rather not create a bigger rift and will come over at another time. Sammy told me, privately, that while she has forgiven my family, she's not all that comfortable hanging out with my family just yet. I'm perfectly okay with this. I feel like taking some time from my family will be a good thing. Sammy and I are still deciding where to go on Christmas, probably to my best friend's house. The best part of the update, my best friend's wife went ring shopping with me. She let me go to all the chain stores and balked at the prices for the same ring in every store. She eventually took me to a local jeweler and we discussed a custom ring. The jeweler completely understood what I wanted, and I decided she would be great at designing a ring. She's pretty backed up with orders and said she'd be able to get to it in January. A few nights ago, she texted me a picture of a stone she had found to see if it fit what I had in mind. Sammy saw the text, and it led to an impromptu proposal. She said yes. So now I have a fiancé. We haven't really told anyone yet. I'll tell my family at some point, but for now, I'm enjoying sharing this time with her. So things are okay. Better than I hoped since my last post. I'm very sad about my sister because I miss her and her kids, and I miss my family, but I feel good about my decisions. I feel like things will get better with my family, except my sister, in time. Sammy liked the idea of a destination wedding next summer, but we haven't even started any planning yet. Sammy told me after everything that's happened with my family, she feels confident that I have her back and that she finally has me as her true family. Very nice, congrats. Though I'm appalled that the one who should have been her supporter is the one holdout. Your sister trusts her to babysit but talks trash on her and won't apologize? Messed up. I honestly think my sister's pride is getting in the way. She's not one to back down or submit, especially when she's wrong. I hope she'll pull her head out of her behind at some point. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with your sister, but shakeups like this can be the best time to switch gears. Have you spoken to her directly and privately? I would reach out, preferably in person, and lay it all on the line. Find out her reasoning why she said what she has, then call BS. Counter with a nice thing Sammy has done for her sister by her own choice. Add a conversation by telling your sister that she's acting like an ugly person, and you don't want her to be a part of your life until she corrects her mistakes. This leaves her an out. Say that Sammy's owed an apology and her entitlement needs to end. She's lucky that Sammy ever babysit, and she'll never find someone that cares as much. I don't know, I'm feeling feisty right now. I read that you're skipping Christmas with family because you feel bad for sister. If you don't confront her, do not skip future family events. Let the family's choice of attendance do your talking for you. Keep a hard boundary though. Neither you nor Sammy should attend nuclear family events with a sister until the issue is resolved. Don't let time sweep it under the rug. That's a very good idea. And I think I would partly enjoy calling her on all her crap. I hope my dad talks some sense into her because he has expressed how disappointed he is with her behavior. She's a daddy's girl and his disappointment carries a lot of weight. If not, I'll talk to her and not tiptoe around her pride. Now for the last story. My 26 female sister, 30 female, wants me to give her the baby I'm carrying. My husband died a month ago. Before that, we actively tried for a baby for the past 2 years. He had low count, and it was extremely difficult for us since we had to keep trying the old way because we couldn't fund the IVF process. It didn't make sense to us to go through that and then being bankrupt when the baby came. 2 weeks after his passing, I found out that I was pregnant. It was so bittersweet. I love my husband with all my heart, and having his child as a dream came true. But I can't keep this baby alone. I have to leave the house by the end of the year, move back with my parents, and basically start over. I'm not economically, mentally, or emotionally stable to have this baby by myself. and it's so unfair to bring it into a chaotic environment just for my selfish wishes. So I decided to terminate. I felt so alone that I went to see my sister and talk about her. I know that my parents will never allow or forgive me for doing this, and I thought that I had a safe place in her. I came undone and told her how I was feeling, how I couldn't keep this baby, and how much that broke my heart because it was the last piece of my husband. Instead of supporting me, she has this bright idea. I can give birth and let her and her husband adopt it. Like mine, her husband has low count and they've tried to get pregnant for over 8 years. I said that I wasn't sure, and she told me that if I did it, I could keep seeing him, and some part of my husband will remain in this world. I was about to agree, when she saw me doubting and said that if I refused, she's gonna tell my parents about it. It was the threat that infuriated me, so I left. I don't have that many friends and I don't know what to do. I don't want to lose my baby, that's true. But at the same time, I'm not sure I can find a proper life for them. I feel like everything is falling onto my shoulders and I don't know who to trust. Now for the advice. I've actually known several women who have lost their partner while pregnant. Almost all of them felt like you. I no longer wanted to be pregnant. If you have time, give yourself some breathing room. You are grieving and everything seems like a mountain to climb. Seek some counseling if you can. Best of luck. Whoa, that's insane. Instantly makes me think, do not give this woman a child to mess up. Seriously, do what you gotta do, but remove giving the baby to her as an option. And maybe don't trust your sister again. Just be careful that your sister doesn't tell your parents first and manipulate them into pushing you to give your child to her. Even if she doesn't disclose it first, she'll try this afterwards as that is her agenda. Take care. I'm so happy that my ex-wife is miserable. 3 years ago, I, 48 male, found out my wife, 46 female, was having an affair. She met a guy at work and came home one day telling me she was in love with him, no longer loved me, and wanted a divorce. This was a guy she'd only known for 3 months at that time. She and I had been together since we were in our 20s, and we have 3 kids, 28 male, 26 male, and 23 female. Well, I tried to fight for my marriage and didn't want a divorce, but she simply would not stop seeing this guy. Then after one weekend where she disappeared from Friday afternoon to Sunday night, I ended up throwing her out of the house. She immediately moved in with this guy. The only excuse she ever gave me was, I never wanted to hurt you, but there's just something about this guy, and I deserve to be happy. That was it. That was the depth of her reasoning for throwing everything we built together away. We ended up finalizing our divorce in early 2022, and although I had very hard feelings toward her, I faked it enough to get pretty favorable divorce terms from her. It seemed she was so eager to be with her dream man that she didn't have time for a long divorce. So in the end, I got to keep my pension in the house, which I had bought from my grandmother. I did have to give her half of my 401k, however. The effect on our kids was pretty devastating. All 3 of them took it very hard. My oldest son told her that if she chose this man, he'd never have a relationship with her again. And as of right now, neither of our sons has a relationship with their mother. Our daughter does talk to her from time to time, but their relationship is very strained to say the least. My daughter is a very kind person and she tries, but she usually ends her conversations with her mother even more upset than when they started. Then about 4 months after the divorce, my ex contacted me out of the blue. She told me she had made a terrible mistake and asked if she could come home. Her dream man turned out to be an alcoholic who she says is verbally abusive and wasted all of her money. I used this opportunity to tell her exactly what I thought of her as a person, a wife, and a mother. I told her this was her life now and to deal with it. I told her she no longer had a home in this house and to never contact me again. Then a few things happened over the last year that have driven her to start trying to contact me again. First off, I met someone. My sister introduced me to a friend of hers who is also divorced, and she and I hit it off. We've been seeing each other since last summer, and while we agreed that neither of us wants to get married again, we are together. Once my ex heard about this, she once again tried to contact me, but I ignored her. My son also got married and didn't invite his mother. She again contacted me to try to get me to intervene on her behalf, and I told her I would talk to him, but I never did. Secretly, I feel like she deserves all the pain she's feeling when it comes to our kids. She destroyed our family without so much as an afterthought. Too bad. So sad. Now, she recently told our daughter that she finally broke it off with a dream man because she couldn't take his drinking and total lack of responsibility. He wasted her half of the 401k that I had to give her. He also totaled her car driving drunk. This from a man in his 40s. Again, she knew this guy for 3 months and torpedoed our whole family for him. On the face of it, I act like I feel sorry for her, but inside, I really delight in the fact that she's so unhappy. Call me evil or whatever, I don't care. She brought this on herself and it serves her right. I actually had to sit there one Saturday night while she got ready for a date with this guy and laughed on the phone with her friend about how awkward our living situation was. I lived in hell for over a year because of her. Wait until she finds out our son and his wife are going to have a baby later this year. Maybe if she had been able to keep her legs closed, she'd get to meet her grandchild. Enjoy your crappy one-bedroom apartment and your broken-down used car. Me and my new partner will think of you when we're on vacation in Hawaii this summer. Hawaii was the trip my ex and I always planned to take once our daughter finished college. Maybe I'll send her pictures. Now for the top comments. Unless you've been there, it is impossible to understand the mind screw that is an exit affair. Seeing the natural consequences come to fruition must be something. I hope Hawaii is amazing. And yes, it's totally destabilizing to literally have the person you've been with since you're 20 come home from work one day and tell you they've fallen in love with someone they've only known for a few months and they want a divorce. I'm sorry if this happened to you. Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. I mean, Opie tried to make it work and she was in love with some douche. The guy knew she was married and was cool with it? Nah, that's a great AA hat. She got what was coming to her. Best revenge is living well. My mom always said this. I didn't believe her until I was older. It truly is the best revenge. I always say beware the vengeance of a patient person. Life catches up to a-holes, and it's fun to watch when it does. Post the heck out of those vacation pictures. Try and get local paper to cover your trip. I legit live in a town small enough that this could definitely happen. I've observed this from another perspective. The leaving woman being, well, I wouldn't call a friend, but someone who hung out in the same crowd as I did. And they just kind of followed me around even though we're not let's meet up and do fun stuff friends. Anyway, she had a stable but, according to her, boring husband. And after almost a decade of marriage, she just wanted a little adventure. The rest follows the pattern of the story. Find an exciting man who not surprisingly had a reason why he was on the market in his 40s, divorce, alienate the family, go back to trying to relive their 20s in bars and so forth. Then come to a realization that it's a pretty empty life and that the new fun guy was like those friends who were only fun to drink with. Then get super upset that her ex-husband and the rest of the family had moved on and she was no longer invited. The kicker was that she always sold herself as the victim in all this, saying she just had one tiny mistake and everyone else blew it out of proportions. Naturally, she just wanted validation and pretty much unfriended everyone on Facebook who disagreed with her being the blameless victim. Thus, so ended my connection with her as well. Sounds like you knew my ex-wife. Only difference was it was a woman she left for, but everything else in the story fits perfectly. Next story. My 41 male wife, 40 female cheated on me with my best friend, 42 male. So, I'm now in the aftermath of the situation as she has moved out and divorce papers have been filed, but I still wake up feeling angry and betrayed every day. My wife and I had both come from previous divorces. She had cheated on her first husband. Red flag, I know. And we were a couple and lived together for nearly 8 years without being married, as neither of us really wanted to go down that road again. I got a career position with my job, however, and told her it would be smart to get married for insurance and tax purposes. She didn't think that was a great reason, but then she proposed to me a few months later. This only lasted 5 or less months, before I eventually discovered that she had started reaching out to people, sending pictures and such. The discovery process was slow. I learned that she had fooled around with a female friend. Later learned she tried to sleep with a husband too. Yet I knew that there was a man in another state that she regularly sent pictures and lewd messages to. And then I found her journal. In her journal, I saw that in October of last year, she finally did it. For 3 days straight while I was out of town for training. I confronted her and she wouldn't tell me who. I guessed the man in another state and she said yes, it was him. I also found out that on my birthday in December, she supposedly was going to a coworker's birthday party, but I noticed from text logs that she had contacted my best friend at midnight several times. It took a lot of snooping to discover everything. We had scheduled counseling. She claimed to be serious about working on it, but I discovered her Discord chats. She was cheating on me with my best friend. Regularly. On my birthday, I took said friend to a professional football game for his birthday, the day after Christmas, all the time. It continued even after we had scheduled counseling, after my friend knew we were trying to work on it. There's so many more details, but she agreed to a divorce and has since moved out. I have to pay her thousands of dollars to get her off the deed to the house, so I guess it's a lose-lose for me, but I'm trying to move forward. I guess I'm posting this here because even though I scheduled counseling in December, it doesn't start until next month. 3 total families affected minimum, all with children. I'm not sure if there's more, and I fear I will lose my relationship with my stepdaughter because of all this. I just want the hate out of my heart at this point. But for right now, if either of you are reading this, screw you, and you deserve each other. Edit. Yes, I know. Marrying a prior cheater was stupid. Believe me when I tell you that I loved her up to and even after the point that I had discovered she cheated. She led me to believe that I was her world for 8 years, prior to getting married, and I was foolish enough to believe it. Only in the end did I realize how easily she could lie to me. Work out. Get a hobby. Ditch the friend. Best revenge is living a better life. Very much this. But logic often evades us in times of great emotional distress, and this is a double betrayal. The hate will take time and effort to dissipate. My ex is in her late 40s and living with her parents. I am 3 years older than her and I'm retiring in 3 years. My mama cheated on my dad 25 years ago, has been penniless since, and she finally lost her trailer because she preferred to sit on her butt all day for decades. Now she lives with me and I freaking hate it, especially since me and my fiancé worked our butts off to afford to rent a nice townhouse in BC, and she takes up a third of it. I have been in your situation and it is tough. You have some work ahead of you, else you'll never escape. It is that dire. This situation will consume you and destroy your relationship with your fiancé if you let it. You must deal with your mother and keep your fiancé out of it as much as possible. There is a reason we don't have as many father-in-law jokes. You must set goals and boundaries. Some of them must not depend on your mother at all. If you can't stand up to her, then you need to move to a new small place where she can't follow. Be prepared to make sacrifices here, else you're stuck with her. Lie to her and tell her the tiny new place is all you can afford. Rents are going up like crazy, and you can't house her. The evil landlord only allows 2 adults, etc. Don't let her guilt you. You are the next easiest option. If she can't live off you, she will find someone else. I got my mother to move out by mandating that she go to a psychiatrist, for which I would pay as a condition for her to continue living with me. She finally moved out. She was diagnosed as bipolar after 20 years of using my sister and me financially and emotionally. I know why our other 3 siblings went no contact with her. As narcissistic as this sounds, when my ex-boyfriend cheated on me with my ex-best friend, I just try to keep reminding myself that their actions are proof that I am better than them. My morals are at a higher standard. I treat people I care about better than them. I am honest and would never hurt others the same way they did me. Suffice to say, they are truly, truly beneath you. Almost everyone who cheats has something wrong with them. Maybe they're insecure. Maybe they're mentally unwell. Maybe they're bad at managing their romantic relationships. But regardless, cheating is not the actions of a well-adjusted, emotionally mature adult. You're better than them. Remember that. Last story. My ex-wife changed to a different person when we moved to her hometown. We were divorced 12 months later. My ex-wife, 36 female, and I, 36 male, met when we were 25. We were plucky, ambitious people, trying to be better versions of ourselves. We each were flawed, but we help each other become stronger, and each patch the other's weakness. 10 years later, we moved to her hometown. We had visited before. I get along okay with her family members. The move was supposed to be temporary and short, before moving to another country. But now we were part of the environment she grew up in. I felt suddenly she became a different person. As the youngest in a big family, she basically stopped making any decisions, and instead pushing for what her older siblings recommended. Slowly, it was like she felt like she didn't need to lift a finger to get anything anymore. There's always a family member to help out. But when we were alone, it became for me to cook, drive her around, take out the trash, etc. Because in my family, we do things for each other. I shouldn't even need to ask you. Suddenly, it was important that we show up to parties with her high school friends. These are people I hardly knew, but it's expected that we attend. It would be embarrassing if we don't. They'll be hurt. When we met, we were going to help each other be better people so that we can then help other people. I helped her gain skills. She helped me gain confidence and assertiveness. And then suddenly, what's important became the opposite. It was about what other people think. It was about talking and showing rather than doing. And my needs became secondary. This became evident when she made the decision that she now wanted to live in this town permanently. Maybe it had always been like this, but I swear that being back in the place she grew up, with all the old relationship patterns, behavior, and mindset, was too much of a change for me to see. I felt like someone I loved, with all her precious values and goals that I admired, was being usurped and slowly being erased. In the early days of living there, I said out loud jokingly, "It's like you are regressing to a younger version of you." 1 year later, it wasn't so funny to me anymore, but no one seemed to see it. Perhaps her family and friends only ever saw this version of her, or perhaps I was wrong in what I thought I saw all these years. I still like to think, though, that it was because of the place, that it changed her into the patterns of her younger self. And one day, if she ever moves away, the woman I knew and admire will emerge again. And then the reason for me leaving will be validated for everyone, for her, and for myself. Edit. I just want to add this detail so that I can let it go as well. I mentioned that throughout our relationship, she had helped me with my assertiveness. One of the things that made me lose hope was when she said, "I know that you're learning to set your boundaries, but when it comes to my family, this is not the time." I've always admired both of her parents, especially her dad, a kind, hardworking, generous man. Since moving, I saw up close a subtle dynamic in which he was doing all the heavy lifting for his wife, and children as well. I saw that his wife was taking him for granted. My husband will do it, etc. My ex-wife saw this and criticized her mom for it, but I could feel the behavior creeping into her, and hence our relationship. Another thing that made me lose hope was when we had her family over for dinner, and she was like, "Cook the food, serve the food, where are the cutleries? What did you get everyone for dessert?" It was the way she treated me in front of everyone. That was one of the last days. Some people, when surrounded by their family, can revert back to that childlike state of mind depending on their home life growing up, especially if they're being enabled. While it would be upsetting for you to have to bear it, I think you've done the right thing for yourself. You're only 36 from your post, and you've still got a lot of life left in you. If my uncle, who's around the same age as you, and has absolutely no social media whatsoever, can get a date, then so can you, if that's what you're wanting. Just don't ever feel guilty for choosing yourself. Oof, this is me when I'm with my family. I revert back to my teen years when my mom did everything. Mind you, I'm a stay-at-home mom that literally does everything for the house. I don't know. My mom enjoys it though, so I let her. It's also nice for me to have someone take care of me for a change in a maternal way. It makes me feel good. It sounds like she was babied her whole life as the youngest child, moved out and was forced to become independent. And now that she's back in that environment, she's reverted back to that mindset as her default. She believes she deserves to be babied and catered to. Otherwise, the whole family does things for each other would apply to both of you, not just you becoming the de facto adult of the situation, while she doesn't do her part to cook or clean. Not sure if it's something she's fully aware of, but if you've tried to talk to her about it and nothing has changed, I think you are well within your rights to divorce, as the qualities you valued in her are no longer present. Am I the a-hole for suggesting that my parents move out of the house? I am the oldest of my parents' 8 children, all 3 to 16 years old while I am 23. My biological father died 2 months after I was born, and my stepfather has been present in my life since I was 3 years old. The house I currently live in belonged to my paternal grandfather when he died, as he had no wife and children as my biological father was an only child, made me the only heir of his estate. He passed away when I was 15. As the house was quite big, 7 bed, 4 baths, my parents talked to me about our family moving there as it would be cheaper and could accommodate everyone. The only thing I wanted was the master suite for myself, and it actually became a bedroom. Currently, my mother is 6 months pregnant. Again. I work and earn a good salary. I don't pay the house bills, though I help with the groceries. This month, I started having complaints from my parents saying that I should help more with my younger brothers. I always argue that I'm not their father, and that is their responsibility. And as they are so financially tight, started to charge me to pay some bills because they were not able to. And I started to pay some, though not as much as they wanted. I had my limits when they suggested I move into their room, as they would need space for the new baby and that since they pay most of the bills, they should have the biggest room. I told them they can pay most bills, but they don't pay a dime on a huge house that's only in my name. And if they want more space for their 9th child, I suggest they move to another house, because I am the owner of the house and I won't give up my comfort because they won't stop having children. They started calling me an ungrateful son, and that they raised me to be empathetic and kind, but I am showing myself to be a cold and extremely selfish person who threatens his own parents to kick them out of the house for not agreeing with the suggestion. I talked to my maternal grandmother, and she said that she understands my side but that I may have been very hard on them, especially since they were my parents. They're not talking to me now, by the way. Am I the a-hole? Edit. We're not in the US. Obviously, I'm not able to support the house on my own, but it's a great house for renting. And if I did that, I could rent a smaller house and live on that money alone. The fees are yearly here. My grandfather left a responsible accountant to pay that for me with some money left for this. So no, they don't put money in the house besides bills and anything that break. It's not forever, but my grandfather protected me financially until I at least had a capacity and maturity to do so. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They've got some nerve even asking that of you. It blows my mind when people pop out almost an entire football team's worth of kids and then make it other people's problem. Honestly, if you can't afford to keep having kids, stop having kids. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If your parents can't afford to house and feed their 9 children on their own, then they should stop having kids. Their demands are also presumptuous. They will soon take over the house. And what about if you want to get married and have kids of your own? I would sit down with them and establish a timeline of how they intend to manage their lives independent of you. And make it clear that you will not be financially responsible for them, nor will you parent your siblings or give up your bedroom. Really? If Opie gets married, it's only fair for them to move into the home Opie already owns. Not the a-hole. Their baby, their problem. I do think it's good for you to pay your share of groceries and utilities. Beyond that, nope. And you know it will just get worse. Soon they'll be bothering you for money to feed, clothe, and educate their kids. Put your foot down. You're already generously letting them stay rent-free. If they don't like the situation, they can leave. So no, you aren't an a-hole. Not at all. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting my sister-in-law and her kids to move out of my house? I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years now. And after 2 years of dating, we got our own place together, including my stepson who we have full-time. This was our first ever house we each have had without living with parents/family. My sister-in-law lived with her mom, stepdad, and her 4 kids. She's a single mother. They ended up losing the house because of financial reasons and pretty much had nowhere to go. So I told my partner that his sister and kids can stay with us until she gets her own place. One of her kids ended up staying with her grandmother. Anyway, so my sister-in-law and her 3 kids moved in with my partner, stepson, and I into our small 3-bedroom house. We made it accommodating so we could all live comfortably together. At first, we were pretty close and hung out a lot, but as time went by, we started drifting apart. I think it was because of the fact my sister-in-law just stayed home all day, didn't get a job or even look for one, never helped out with the bills or rent, and would just go out on dates with random guys she met online all the time. My partner and I both work full-time jobs, and every day I would come home and the house was an absolute mess because of all the kids. They tried to clean it, but honestly there was no point, because it would just end up going back to being messy, and I was so sick of it. This went on for over a year. She still didn't have a job and was living here for free. I would tell my partner that she needs to move out, but as she is his big sister, he defended her, even though he was annoyed as well. She ended up getting a boyfriend and would let him stay over at our house with his 2 kids. That's a total of 9 people now in our 3-bedroom house. They would have fights in the house and even broke one of the bedroom doors. My partner and I were so ticked off at the lack of respect they had. They ended up replacing the door, but that was it. I was over it. I started to put a list together of houses up for lease so she could start looking for a place. But she didn't seem interested. Later on, I found out that she was actually speaking to my stepson's biological mother, who at the time was very jealous of my partner and I being together and having my stepson full-time, and was trying to come up with ways to try and break my partner and I up. It was the ultimate snake move in my opinion. It didn't work though, and we had to sit her down and confront her about it. Can't really forgive her for it. But still, am I the a-hole for wanting them to move out knowing they kind of had nowhere to go, and it wasn't the kid's fault for anything? Not the a-hole. She is beyond disrespectful. Set a date and tell her that she needs to be out by that date, whether she has somewhere to go or not. She can go live with the mom of the stepson since they are so buddy-buddy. Not the a-hole. Your husband is way out of pocket here. I have a pretty similar situation minus the escalation. We have raised and been parents to my 10-year-old nephew almost since he was born. My sister moved in 3 years ago and was unemployed for about a year and a half. Before she moved in, I made sure that my husband knew that this was a two-yeses situation. If he wanted her gone, she would be gone. I would be the one to handle any awkward situation or laying down the law with her. And I did. I was the one who sat her down and told her she had a month to find a job and pay rent or leave. It was not okay for your husband to say she gets to stay, even when the main problem was just her being unemployed. It's insane for him to try to force you to live with her now. Hard no. I would say she goes, or I go, except I wouldn't have to because my husband isn't an a-hole and wouldn't make me. Well, the good news, good for sister-in-law that is that she doesn't have to worry about conspiring to break them up. The guy's almost done doing her work for her. Not the a-hole. 1. She's not looking for a job to support her family and help with expenses. 2. She's not helping around the house or at least cleaning up the kids' messes. 3. She brings in even more people, still without helping with rent or chores. 4. She actively tried to sabotage your relationship. Have her pack up right now. She can stay with her good friend, the stepson's bio mom. 60 days if you are generous. 30 days if you want a shield from naysayers. Please look into your area's squatter rights, because 30 is standard for many landlords in my area. Again, do your research. Personally, after the relationship sabotage attempt, 3 days tops. Her poor kids. They're probably sick of her too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not being willing to put my boyfriend on the deed on the new house? So, some background. My boyfriend and I have been together over a year and lived together since the beginning of the year. He doesn't hold down a job for more than a few weeks and has been through like 8 this year already. We are already rocky because of his attitude and not helping with finances when I've told him I need help. Now, I'm looking at selling my house. I got my house in my divorce from my ex-husband and it's paid off. I have primary custody, so he wanted me to keep it. Now, I want something different. And a 3 to 4 bedroom instead of the 2 bedroom I have. I want to buy another house from the proceeds of this one, either through using the money from it as a down or buying straight out. The problem is, boyfriend wants to be on the deed for the other house. He's not helping with bills as it is, and he's not contributing any money to buy the next one. His mother is throwing a fit because I told him it's not happening. I also think that's because she wants to move in and rent a room, which I also said no to due to severe drinking problem. But now he's mad that I said no, and that everyone said I'm being a bad person. Everyone being his mother and friend, who doesn't like me anyway. We're not married and he wants to be someday, but I don't. I've been down that road and I'm not in a hurry to do it again. So I question, am I the a-hole for not being willing to put him on the deed? Edit. Since everyone is asking, I think I needed to hear it from others to make sure I wasn't overreacting. When we got together, he had a stable job that he had had for years and was paying all his bills and seemed stable. The second we moved in together, it changed, and he had to find a different job because I lived an hour and a half away, then just never stayed in them. He lost his car this year because I wouldn't pay for it. I think I just needed to see that I wasn't overreacting because I've been ready to end it for a bit. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You'd be an idiot to put him on the deed. That said, why are you even with this loser? Is the intimacy at least good? Because I am not seeing any redeeming qualities. He's lazy and greedy and selfish and mean. Not the a-hole. Absolutely do not put him on the deed. He wants to just be given half of your house that you are buying for your family? WTF. Definitely not the a-hole. You've only been dating a year. Think hard about what he is asking of you, and if you're prepared for his expectations from you in the future of this relationship. Not the a-hole. However, I think you should check into common law property laws before you do this. If he starts living with you in the house after you purchase it for many years, he could be entitled to it if you all ever break up. Be careful. He sounds shady. He's already mooching off you, so he will definitely try to take you to the cleaners if you ever try to kick him out. Didn't even think about this. You seem to be making really bad decisions regarding significant others. Use the move to the new house as a way to get this man out of your house. Stop financially supporting a grown man. That's money you're taking from your children and giving to him, either directly or indirectly. You should get some therapy. But until then, a hard boundary should be no moving anyone into your house. Around the 1-year mark is when responsible adults introduce their partner to their kids. There's no way in hell you should be living together. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my daughter's plane ticket, but paying for my youngest daughter who this vacation is dedicated to? Hello all. I have 2 daughters named Kate, 23 female, and Alexa, 16 female. For starters, Kate lives with me rent-free and bill-free. She used to live with her mom full-time, but her mom kicked her out at 18. I don't blame her mother, though. Kate was absolutely terrible in her teenage years. She was rude, disrespectful, and would steal, smoke, skip class, etc. Kate barely finished high school and was put in a continuation school. Since this, though, Kate is doing a lot better. She didn't want to go to college, but she works at a fast food restaurant and is saving up for her own apartment. Alexa, on the other hand, is the opposite. She's amazing in school, works, volunteers, and still has time to do sports and clubs. I'm extremely proud of her and feel as if she puts too much pressure on herself. Me and my girlfriend decided to surprise her on a vacation. Alexa has always wanted to go there, and it wasn't as pricey as we expected. We planned this in early October. I told Kate about the vacation and asked if she wanted to come, but she would have to pay her own ticket. She said yes and would give me the money before Halloween. Well, she never gave me the money, even after being reminded, so I booked the trip November 1st for the 18th to 21st of November. I told my daughter this Sunday at dinner and she was very excited. Kate then said, "You'll have to cancel and hope they refund. I work those days." I told her she wasn't coming since she didn't pay. She was confused and thought I was paying for her. I told her that she was an adult who worked and lived free. Why would I pay? She got upset and said, because I'm her daughter, and that I was paying for Alexa, so why not her? An argument then ensued, which resulted in Alexa and Kate crying, with Kate saying she hated me. Kate has been ignoring us until we apologize and pay her ticket, which I won't. Well, yesterday Alexa sent me a link to a video on TikTok where it shows Kate crying and explaining the situation, but she lied about a lot of things in the videos and made Alexa and I look like bad guys. The video got a lot of attention and support. She even opened up a GoFundMe where she received close to $500. I showed my girlfriend and we were both livid. Alexa was also very upset about the comments, which fueled my anger. When she came home, a huge argument broke out and I basically kicked her out for the week. She's been posting on social media platforms since, talking about me, my daughter, and girlfriend. My daughter even got some nasty messages on her social media. My girlfriend told me I'm right on this, but my daughter told me to just pay for her ticket. I want to know if I'm doing the right decision, so help. Not a hole. One daughter is over 18 and has a job. The other is under 18 and in school. It is entirely reasonable to expect one to be able to pay her own way, while paying for the one who hasn't had any opportunity to make money for herself. The fact that Kate is willing to lie about you and her sister on the internet for sympathy and money should tell you something about her character. You could even report the GoFundMe as being fraudulent. Yes, please do report her to GoFundMe. She should not profit from this. Kinda think everyone sucks here. Her reaction is pretty bad, but it kinda seems like you're stacking the deck against her for past behavior a bit when they're both your daughters. Mentioning about how Kate was absolutely terrible as a child, even though you admit she's doing way better now, while being extremely proud of Alexa when that's not really relevant to the story, is a pretty big tell. I'd be pretty upset too if I felt like my parents were totally favoring my younger sibling. Also, while sure 23 is an adult, it's hardly some unusual event for a 23-year-old to still be living at home while they save up for their own place. It's nice that you're letting her live there rent-free, but she's not some random tenant. She is a part of your family, and probably, and I would say rightfully, feels incredibly hurt that you're all going on vacation without her. You're obviously within your rights to say she has to pay her own way, and her reaction is immature, but you might want to look in the mirror a little bit as to why her reaction is what it is. Even if Opie looks down on Kate for being a former problem child, how does that change the fact Kate initially agreed to pay for her own ticket? It doesn't. That's why everyone sucks here. Her actions aren't right either. She is an adult who is acting like a child. Roasting your family on TikTok is hardly a bastion of maturity. And if she said she'd pay, so be it. But there's clearly bigger issues here with communication. Maybe it's just part of Opie making the case for why they're not the a-hole, but I also really think the description of the problem child versus the little angel who can do no wrong is discomforting too. It's just totally irrelevant to the story. If your argument is she's an adult, she should pay her own way, that's fine. But how they acted as a teenager shouldn't matter. But it really seems like it does. And it seems like that colors the whole story. Am I the a-hole for canceling significant other's birthday plans after finding out I was not invited? Let me start the post off by saying my 21 female significant other's 22 male love language is gift giving. He loves to shop for people. He loves to give gifts, especially extravagant ones. For example, over the 3 years we've been together, he's given me a car, 3 dogs, a new phone, and many more smaller items. I, on the other hand, struggle with gift giving, especially for him. He's the person that if he wants it, he will buy it for himself. 2 different times I had purchased him a gift before the holiday rolled around. He had went and purchased the exact same thing for himself. So finding something he both likes and doesn't already have is a struggle. This year, I decided I would go above and beyond. I set aside a couple $1,000s, a lot for me, not so much for him, to make sure I can get him extravagant gifts. This year, he discussed with me he wanted to go to Puerto Rico. Immediately, I found a 4-bedroom house, more than enough room for his friends, him and I. He also booked a yacht for us to spend a day on. That ended up being more than I set aside for, but I booked a yacht anyway, since he always goes above and beyond for me. I don't wanted him to have a great birthday. Well, tonight I asked him if I should purchase his gifts here and travel with him, or if I should go shopping in Puerto Rico. He tells me I was not coming. Note, earlier this week he discussed us going to Puerto Rico. Also discussed how his friend would be traveling with us on this trip. So he immediately sensed my confusion. He quickly started backtracking and told me I would be coming, just at the end of the week, missing his birthday. My feelings were hurt at first. To think the person I wanted to spend my birthdays with doesn't want to spend theirs with me hit a little different. My feelings soon changed, as I realized this also meant I would miss out on a yacht I went over budget on. Immediately I went to cancel the yacht, trying to get some form of payment back since it had already been 24 hours since booking. The yacht was a surprise, so it was never mentioned. But after canceling it and only getting partial refund, I told him what I had planned. I also told him since I would have to wait 5 days after his birthday to even see him, his gifts would not be as extravagant and I would not have things like a cake decorations or anything set up for him. He told me I was the a-hole. The yacht was for him and not me, so regardless if I attended, I should have left the reservation in place. He also tells me his gifts should not change since he will see me after his birthday. I disagree. I can't imagine spending thousands of dollars on gifts for someone just to give it to them a week after their birthday. I also cannot imagine spending over $1,000 on a yacht that I would never see. Am I the a-hole for canceling my plans for a significant other's birthday after finding out I am not invited? Now for the comments. He's either trying to spend his birthday with another girl, or spending his birthday with his friends is more preferable to him than spending it with you and friends. Either way, this is red flag territory, and I'd reassess this relationship. That's honestly the vibes I got. I found a way better house in the Dominican Republic, way bigger and quite a bit cheaper. He wouldn't even look at the house there and insisted to go to Puerto Rico. I got the vibes he had someone in Puerto Rico he wanted to spend his birthday with, but I also thought that might be a tad crazy. No, trust your gut. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I would use the time he was gone to move out. Kick him to the curb and find someone who appreciates you. He does not come across as someone who is trustworthy. And cancel the whole thing immediately. Consider any lost deposit money well spent on the cost of learning who he really is and how little he values you. I'm sorry, you deserve so much better. Not today home. You purchased a trip for him, his friends, and yourself. He doesn't get to kick you out. Cancel the whole trip and cancel the relationship. Or go on the trip without him. Bring your friends, go on a yacht. I cannot imagine my significant other spending thousands of dollars on a vacation and not bring them along. It seems really suspicious to me. Maybe he has a side chick or was planning to get a birthday action out clubbing with the boys. Either way, it was selfish for him and you deserve better. I honestly got the second option vibes too. No reason I would hinder any plans he had going on. Seems like he just had things planned he didn't want me attending. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being a downer at my husband's grad celebration? My 30s female husband, 30s male, is graduating college. His class decided to go out to celebrate with drinks after their exams, but he said significant others weren't invited. He had a routine checkup with my primary just before the celebration started, and she found a lump on my breast. I'm young, but have a history of breast cancer on my mom's side. My aunt died before the age of 35 from it. She wanted me to get a biopsy that day and referred me to the correct place. It was going to be a few hours before they could see me, as they were doing her a favor and it was obviously short notice. I was a crying mess, so my husband reluctantly agreed for me to come wait for him at the bar for my appointment time. I got to the bar, introductions were made, and although I was quite scared, I felt I was nice to everyone and as talkative as I could be. I left my husband at the bar with his classmates and went for the biopsy, followed by mammogram. It was terrifying, but my doctor was great, and a nurse held my hand through it all. When I got home, my husband was pissed at me. Apparently, I offended his classmates because I was standoffish and rude to them, and in their words, just an overall downer that brought down the mood of the celebration. He said I embarrassed him, and he regretted having me join them. I now feel terrible, like I ruined his day to celebrate with his friends, and maybe should have just kept the situation to myself so as not to bring him and them down. Added key points. Yes, husband knew all details of cancer scare as soon as first appointment ended. I'm the only one working while he's in school. I do not pay for school. And just in case anyone other than the super kind person is wondering, I've taken him to a nice dinner after every milestone was passed, and as a consolation if things haven't gone great. I worked a side job while he's in class to save up secret money, and bought him a private deep-sea fishing charter for his graduation gift. I'm not a bad wife. I do what I can within my limited means. Wait, let me get this straight. You discovered something possibly life-threatening and at least life-altering, and instead of your husband staying at your side and help you through this experience, he chooses to go to a celebration and let you wait with him in the bar before scare exams, and then had the audacity to be mad about your mood. Holy cow, girl. This calls for some serious conversation between you two. But honestly, I see red flags all over. Not stay hall big time, but your husband definitely is. Yeah, just to doubly point out here, OP, he should not have even gone to his graduation. He should have been by your side for the wait, the appointment, and the rest of the day/evening. You need to have a long think whether you want to be with a man who cares so little about you. Your husband was unsympathetic, unsupportive, and plain cruel, and his friends were damn out of line. There's no way I'd even listen to my friends criticizing my partner like that, let alone repeating the message to him. You were getting a biopsied mammogram, in itself a scary thing, but worse because you have a history of cancer. And not only did your husband not go with you, but he criticized you for acting down? I hope he changes his attitude. I'm betting the friends didn't say a word. I reckon this is all because hubby knows he was being a royal a-hole and is flipping it right back at Opie. Or worse, he mentioned where she was going, and they either directly or indirectly let him know he was totally in the wrong, and he's taking it out on her. I really doubt they said anything about her at all. Did your husband know that your doctor found a lump? What the ever-loving hell? He is mad at you for being a downer rather than supporting you? Whoa. That is messed up. I hope your tests come back with good news and your husband grows a heart. He did know, yes. I called as soon as the first appointment ended because I was kind of a mess. I panicked. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my brother and his wife that I will be suing them for selling the nursery I gave them? I, female 36, lost my 3-year-old son from a chronic condition that he was born with. I struggled a lot with his illness and received a lot of support from my family when my ex-husband was too busy with work than care for his son. When my brother and his wife found out they were expecting, they suffered from a miscarriage after a miscarriage, and because of their financial situation, I decided to lend them my son's nursery to use for their baby, under the condition they give it back when they no longer need it. It's an expensive nursery, and the process of shipping, I live in another country, took me time and money, and of course not to mention its sentimental value. They were so grateful for my help, I'd appreciated it a lot, but my sister-in-law unfortunately lost her baby at 5 months into pregnancy, and I heard from my mother since my brother and sister-in-law went low contact with everyone to be able to grieve. I waited a few months before asking for the nursery back since they no longer need it. I called and asked my brother to send it back despite how cruel I sounded, but I just had to get it back. But I was shocked after my brother said they sold it. All of it. Every single piece. I asked why, and he said his wife was depressed and he needed money to take her on a vacation a month ago. I lost my temper and started screaming at him on the phone, reminding him that this belonged to my son, and only for them to borrow, not sell. He apologized and asked me to be understanding of his wife's position as a grieving mother myself. I said no, they should have considered how selling my son's nursery would affect me as a grieving mother. And he replied that he didn't think I was being fair to scream at him for wanting to help his wife through these hard times. I told him that is not my problem, and that I will be suing them both over the nursery and for every penny made out of selling it. He called me nuts and hung up, then called my parents. They tried to get involved after I threatened to sue and called me callous and unhinged for threatening my brother and sister-in-law with court and told me to let it go. That I don't need the nursery. It is not worth causing permanent damage in my relationship with my brother over a few pieces of furniture. My ex-husband blamed me, saying it was my fault for giving the nursery to my brother, but I just wanted to help. He keeps pushing for the idea to sue, but my parents are telling me not to. Am I the a-hole for wanting to sue them for the nursery that cost us nearly over $4,000? Just to explain something, my ex-husband gets a say because he paid for the nursery as well, but he keeps pushing for me to sue and told me he'll do it if I choose to back down. He keeps saying it's my fault for letting my brother have the nursery in the first place, and is very upset with me about it. It was so unbelievably cruel and selfish for them to sell mementos of your son for a vacation. You lending them the nursery for free represents how highly you regarded them, and how you very kindly hoped that they would honor your son's memory by bringing up their own child with this nursery. And they in turn said, your love of your deceased son means nothing to us. It is only worth as much as we can get breaking the set down and selling it. Sue their pants off. Go with your parents' pressure and pretend to be ready to move on if they apologize for selling items they were supposed to return to you, out of emotional desperation if you have to. Anything to get them to admit in writing/text that it was a loan, not a gift. Then absolutely rinse them in court. This. Sue them for every penny, and then the legal fees. For a vacation? I cannot even believe this. We all have awful, traumatic events. What we don't all do is sell sentimental items that weren't ours that we promised to return because we needed a vacation. I'm so angry and disgusted with them both on your behalf. Edit to add. I'm trying to imagine the effing discussion that took place at the level of pure audacity, selfishness, and dismissiveness, and after Opie did these guys a huge favor too. Sweetie, I need to get away. I'm so depressed. But we have no money. Oh, but we have her nursery. But didn't Opie ask us to return it? And it's quite expensive. She probably forgot about it. Also, I need this. She might be mad, but I'm sure she'll let it go. Let's sell it. Go on vacation and worry about it later. Consequences happen. Cue shocked Pikachu faces. I need to get off this thread. My blood is boiling. The words I'd like to use to describe those two are words that would get me banned. Get a lawyer and get the ball rolling. Now. This needs consequences. It was not theirs to sell. It's yours. I understand her grieving, but that was probably a reminder of your son you wanted to hold on to. I'm sorry you had to go through all this, but you should definitely sue. They clearly don't respect you. Exactly how I explained it to my parents, but they suggested I stop bringing it up now, and that they'll pay me money every month till I get the full cost. But I feel like by doing this, they're enabling my brother's behavior and making excuses for him. They are enabling him. He was completely out of place, and the money won't replace the memories they took from you anyway. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole after no longer allowing my mother-in-law's friend to babysit my children after she started calling them her babies? I'm 26 female, I'm the mother of 2 kids, 4 female and 3 male. My husband, 27 male, and I both work office jobs, and due to this, we need someone to watch the kids while we aren't home. We mostly had babysitters, but a few months back, my mother-in-law, 48 female, suggested that her friend could watch them for free. I told her it wasn't necessary since we could afford a babysitter just fine, but she insisted. I didn't really see any harm in it after she kept asking, so I gave in and her friend, 45 female, started babysitting our kids. Everything was perfect for the first few months. She was always on time and always fed my kids and put them to bed at the time I suggested. My kids seemed to really like her. But about a few weeks ago, my oldest came to me and asked me if I was their real mommy. I was confused and asked her what she meant. Well, it turns out mother-in-law's friend had been telling my kids that they were her babies. And when they protested saying they weren't, she would yell at them saying that I was just their moneymaker and that she was their real mommy. I told my husband about this and he hired a babysitter on the spot. Then me and him called my mother-in-law and told her about the situation. We told her that we weren't going to have her friend over anymore because it made us uncomfortable. We even told her what my kid had told me. Well, mother-in-law didn't take it well. Over the phone, she started screaming, saying that, quote unquote, "My friend doesn't have any kids or grandchildren, so your kids are the closest thing she's had to it, and you're going to take that away from her?" My husband and I tried to calm her down, but after a bit, we just hung up. I received a photo of my mother-in-law's friend crying on mother-in-law's couch later that night. I feel horrible for making her upset, but I don't like how she was telling my kids these things. I understand that she doesn't have kids, but that doesn't excuse her behavior. But for my peace of mind, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If anything, you underreacted. Would your mother-in-law ever help her friend see them? To the point of taking the kids behind your back. I take them to a few sessions with a therapist. They were clearly confused, and the damage this unhinged woman did can run deeper than you know right now. Kids internalize that kind of stuff. Not the a-hole. She claimed ownership of your kids and decided to hide it from you for a long period of time. During this time, she viciously yelled at your kids for denying this claim and defending you. That's not a woman whom you want around your kids. She doesn't sound mentally stable, and it makes the kids doubt their identity and be dubious of your motherhood and your relation to them, which is vastly detrimental to them and has the potential to cause further problems. It's sad that she doesn't have any kids of her own, but it seems like she has gone too far, and she isn't able to take care of them while thinking of them as hers and ingraining this mindset in them. She proved incapability to do that. It's not your fault. You gave her the chance to prove herself, and unfortunately she failed. You're not the ones to blame here. Mother-in-law's anger was directed at you and justifiably, but in these situations, the victims try to blame others. Moreover, I don't know if it's just me, but I found a whole "sent you a picture of her sobbing" thing weird. Who takes a picture of his friend whilst she's crying and sends it to someone else to guilt trip him, implying that he has caused it? It seems unhinged and unnatural. I don't know if the friend consented to this or not. If she did, she was an accomplice in an attempt to guilt trip them into making them feel guilty and rehire her. Whereas if it was done unbeknownst to her, it crosses the line. She was vulnerable, and mother-in-law took advantage of that to prove her point.